What's up? My name is LA, and this is Let Me Call You Right Back with LA. I'm going to run the intro, but I do want to preface the show and introduce myself. My name is LA, 40-year-old black woman, mother, recently divorced, so I am single. So I have plenty of gems to drop about life and whatnot. Child, being single and back on the market. Very interesting. We'll talk about that as well. Let's get into the things about divorce that they never talk about. Okay, y'all, let's get into divorce and the things they do not tell you. I also want to talk about a term that I saw recently on TikTok called enmeshment. Have you guys ever heard of the term enmeshment? Let me break it down for you because I was trapped, and I mean trapped. This term describes when a family of your partner is overly involved in your marriage or your relationship. This could be a mother. My ex husband is Nigerian. So imagine this it's usually the mother. They usually have a very unhealthy relationship with their sons to the point that they become emotionally the other woman in your relationship. Trust me, it's all over the internet. Women from all over are experiencing the same thing. And you know what was so interesting is that I was watching YouTube and a clip from Family versus Fiance on OWN Network came up. The mother in law is yelling at her soon to be or proposed daughter in law, saying that you are supposed to take my plate. You are supposed to take my plate. You are supposed to respect me. And getting up from the table and lunging at her daughter in law as if she wanted to physically attack her daughter in law. Her son, who was the partner of the daughter in law, her daughter, and the father were all there holding the mother back from attacking her soon to be daughter in law because her daughter in law did not take the plate from her after she ate. This was so interesting to see because I dealt with a similar situation in that my ex-husband's, oh, wait, I got my marriage dissolution finalized this Tuesday. Literally 2 days ago, I was in court with my ex-husband and the judge was signing my papers. Praise God. We'll have to talk about what you feel during the divorce process. And my divorce process was over a year long. And nobody talks about how you feel in that cycle, right? It's very daunting. It's very isolating. It's horrible. I wouldn't recommend it, but I do recommend that you get out of any unhealthy relationship that you are currently in. Okay? We don't spend time in relationships where we are not appreciated, adored, and loved. Let's go back to the OWN clip. So in the clip, the mother-in-law is lunging across the table for her daughter-in-law, and it triggered me because my ex-husband, being a Nigerian man, his sister was overly involved in my marriage at the beginning. And for my sister-in-law, my ex-husband's brother has a wife that is not Nigerian. So like me, we are not from the same culture. The sister-in-law had been torturing the other wife for years. She spent 10 years in the marriage. And every time I saw this woman, she was a stranger to me. And on our first encounter, she told me how miserable the sister-in-law was making her because of her over involvement, her always being at their family home, and her always talking about things inside of the marriage with her brother, who is my sister-in-law's husband. It was unbearable for her. And it was so unbearable that she was telling me these stories every time we saw each other. It was so bad that at one point, the sister-in-law was spending the nights at their home. And she lived not more than 30 minutes away. She had become so intertwined in that relationship. And the brother-in-law had put up my brother-in-law had put up zero boundaries for his sister. I start to see her slowly creep into my marriage. We would have a disagreement, and she would send me messages inputting what I had not talked to her about. Only my husband would have given her this information. So I started to bring it up to him more and more. But she slowly backed off when I'm a Black American woman. My sister-in-law, who's married to his brother, was not a Black American woman. So I think that she could assert dominance because this person was allowing her to. Me, on the other hand, absolutely not. So enmeshment is this type of dynamic where family members of the spouse are just way too involved in what's going on. So over some time, I realized that after me and the sister-in-law had a blow up, I can't remember what it was about, but we had finally cut our ties completely. I was blocked, she was blocked. That was it. There was nothing else to talk about. The brother-in-law was still very kind to me. He still would invite me, of course, to family gatherings. The sister would be there. I just wouldn't speak to her. She wouldn't speak to me. It was awkward, but we only see each other on the holidays, so no big deal. But I started to notice that, I would host dinners. My husband would host dinner parties. We would have everybody there but the sister. So it was awkward for me, of course, as well, because I'm not attempting to isolate you from your family, right? Both of their parents are gone. They only have each other. I don't want to isolate you from your family. So it made me feel weird anyway. Let's continue. Give me a second. I want to talk about how you feel inside of the divorce. But I'm going to go through what led to the breakdown of my marriage. Eventually, I ended up filing for divorce right after our anniversary around Valentine's Day because my husband had allowed the sister and his kid's mother, who were very close, they were like two peas in a pod, they had completely rallied against me, turned this man so cold to me, and I had no clue what was going on. Not a one clue what was happening. And it happened so swiftly and so fast that we were celebrating our anniversary and Valentine's Day at the steakhouse where he proposed. And less than a month later, I was secretly meeting with a lawyer. What I believe happened is that my posting, my happiness, my Facebook, my Instagram was pissing people off. People that couldn't get their hands on the privilege he was providing me, especially the kid's mother. So he was providing me with everything. He had bought me a house. He was paying all the bills. We were still going out to eat, going on vacation, doing a multitude of things. And yet these other people had zero access to him because he chose me. But they had slowly decided to pick away at my happiness, at our marriage, and my husband was turned against me. And I don't think that I don't want to give him any excuse in this, but I don't think he even saw how swiftly this had all happened. He had left for work and came back. We talked that day, and then when he came back home, he was upset. And I was like, what's going on? Why aren't you speaking? What is happening? He was very short with me. And then it turned into like, okay, what's happening? He's not speaking at all. From very short to not speaking at all. And I have finally got fed up with that because I know, let me tell you what I know for a fact. I know for a fact that you understand my love language. So if you understand my love language and you are taking away what I value most, which is our quality time together, words of affirmation, you're trying to take that away. So whatever you're upset about, you're putting a little bit of extra funk on it to hurt me. And when you have a disagreement with somebody that you love and you're partnering with in your whole entire life, our lives are so intertwined. We are married for years at this point. But when you start to do things in an argument to not only, you have every right to be upset. Distance yourself. I don't want to talk now. That is fine. But when you do extra little shit to be nasty and to put some funk on the disagreement and the way you respond in the disagreement, and you put a little extra stank on it, no, you're not my partner. You don't even like me. You don't even like me. And I started to realize that this was a reoccurring response to disagreements. This was reoccurring. So something as small as whatever can turn into 2 days of not speaking to me. How do you resolve an argument when you don't know how to emotionally respond or balance yourself when you're upset? You don't understand that we have to do an entire life together? If you respond like a child, which most of these Nigerian men do, if you respond like a child in an argument where I'm not talking to you, then how do you live a life with that person? How do you resolve any conflict in that marriage? And when you do things like that, and you start to let it seep into my head that you don't like me, then I know I am absolutely defenseless and I need to be on the offense with my partner, the person I lay down with. I have to be worried about you defending me. And I don't mean like in a physical fight or if I'm out arguing with somebody or against your family, which we know you ain't gonna do. I'm talking about you have to defend your marriage when you're out in public, when you're alone, when there's temptation. Being on the defense for your marriage. Because the world is set up for marriages to fail, for men to cheat, for women to be lured out of marriage by men with more money. Whatever the issue or whatever the reason, you have to be on the defense. So if we're at home and you can't even figure out an argument, or you put a little stank when you're mad by not only being upset about the argument, but putting an extra stank by denying me what you know is my love language, then baby, guess what? You're not my partner. You're not my partner. You're not my partner. And now everything that I do for you and your children feels like I'm being used or I'm taken advantage of because you don't really like me. You don't really like me because when I'm with somebody, I want to be close to you. I want to be up under you. I want to talk to you about your day. I want to talk to you about our future. But you don't want to speak when you're mad. I'm trying to resolve it as quickly as possible because I'm like, I want to get back to being lovey-dovey with my partner, with my husband, with my spouse. So back to enmeshment. This woman was so obsessed with me. The mother of the kids and the sister. Obsessed with me. It was so bad, I filed for divorce. I hadn't posted it on any social media, nothing. The day I filed, and maybe not the day I filed, the day he found out, the day my husband found out, both the sister and the kid's mother sent me pages in Facebook Messenger about me, how I'm unliked, how I'm unlikable, my physical appearance. Bleachiana. But about my physical appearance, everything. Everything. I didn't even know the kid's mother knew my name on Facebook. After that, I'm going to tell you, after that, my ex-husband's baby mama's parents were sending me friend requests. Why are you here? Why the fuck are you here? Yes, they were sending me friend requests, watching my stories. My ex-husband was constantly watching my stories. His teenage daughter constantly watching my stories. I thought nobody liked me. It wasn't a dislike, it was a jealousy. It was an envy. These people had become obsessed with my life because I was making the absolute most of a marriage that I enjoyed. They were obsessed with everything about me and their brother or baby father or ex son in law or whatever. It was all me all the time, which I'm not surprised by. I am a standout woman. I am absolutely gorgeous. I spend the money I want to spend. I buy the things I want to buy. So, of course, if you're not happy in your life, I'll probably trigger you. I'll probably trigger you. That's fine. But what isn't fine is for you to think that it's okay to stalk and harass me after I filed divorce from somebody you had already turned against me. You had already turned this person against me and you're mad that I'm leaving now? Or you think you finally got the opportunity to say what you want to say? You don't. You don't. Anyway, I wanted to talk to you also about how you feel after filing for divorce. You do not feel victorious. I will say that. You will feel a weight relieved eventually. That doesn't happen instantly, but when you file, you feel a weight relieved. You feel better about yourself because you're like, oh, I'm done. I'm choosing my happiness. Even if I'm not there yet, I know I'll get there soon. So you choose your happiness, you choose yourself, you choose your children. And that took a while for me, and I'm there now. Even though the divorce, I see like, let me talk about this. I see women have divorce parties, especially like on Real Housewives, those Bravo TV shows, reality shows, Basketball Wives. Women have had divorce parties. And it made me think, oh, I'll be happy once it's final. No, you're not happy. It's almost like the scab is removed. So I'm not sad, but there's no rejoicing in it. There's no celebratory moment when my divorce was final, sitting in front of the judge with my ex-husband. There was nothing celebratory about it. You go back to that feeling of, damn, we had it good. But everybody has it good until they don't, right? So, I don't know. I can't be mad about that part, but there was definitely no celebration. I could never have gone to a divorce party. Ever. Maybe if, my girls and I maybe go on a girls trip and they're like, congratulations, you're free. Maybe in a couple months or a couple weeks. On that day, there was no celebratory moment. We went our separate ways forever at that point. So, I say that to say, over the past few months, I have been feeling this, like I was stuck, right? I had been feeling stuck and I could not understand what it was. And I was constantly like pushing for something. I'm like, is it work? Do I need to start applying for different positions? Do I want a promotion? Is it my YouTube? Do I want to do something new with YouTube? Do I want to record more, go in a different direction, or get out of the box that I put myself in? Do I want to have a different niche or whatever it is, right? I could not figure what it was, but I was like begging for a sign, a breakthrough, something. And I realized after talking to this guy that I had met on a dating site, he was telling me about his ex-wife. And he was like, my ex-wife lives back home. She wants to move to Chicago. So, we're having some talks about finances and if she moves and it increases her cost of living, what my contribution would be, or if I would get my son full time, what that looks like. And I was like, okay, I understand that. And he was like, yeah, because she's back home and she wants to come to the States. He's a Nigerian guy. I have a thing. For Nigerian men. What did I say? So anyway, yeah, so he's like, my ex-wife wants to come here, but I really wanted to just petition for my son to come here. X, Y, and Z. I don't know the truth. This is not somebody I'm pursuing or interested in at all, but I thought about it and I said, this woman lives in Nigeria. She's a single mother with a son. The ex-husband, or maybe current husband, you know how the Nigerian men do. She has a son. She's there alone. If she was to, God forbid, die today, her story would be your man left you and went to America and he did not look back. And I said to him, I said, you just sparked such a thought in me that what if my feeling stuck and needing a breakthrough is actually me analyzing and over analyzing my current situation, in that I'm a divorced woman who, when I got married, we bought the big house. My husband was the provider who paid all the bills. He's 6 feet, he's 6 figures, X, Y, and Z. What if that is why I feel stuck? Like I need to prove myself better than that. I need to get a bigger house in my next relationship or next marriage. I need the bigger house. I want the better cars. I want the man with more money and taller and everything you can imagine, right? So I thought to myself, if that woman was to die today, that's her legacy. In her community, her legacy. In her community, just the people that talk. The people that talk and watch. Not your friends, but in your community. That is your legacy. Your legacy is the single mom who was left by her ex to go to America. She might be feeling the same thing that I'm feeling now, is that I have to do better. I have to get more because this is my legacy. Everybody around me has their eyes on me. What if that was the peak? So I told myself that can't be the peak. That can't be the peak. And I think that's where I was freaking out and so absolutely paranoid about the future. Like I was desperate for a breakthrough. So I had to thank that man, and I had to really understand, why are you feeling this way? It's not because of you. It's because of the people you think are watching you. The people you think have eyes on you, that don't really care about your well-being, but will be interested in what your comeback looks like. So if that's what's keeping you up at night, you have to figure out why you're not living for yourself and you're living for the watchers on your social media pages, the people that look at your Facebook, the people that look at your Instagram, not the interactors who send love or show support or send a little message of encouragement, the watchers. That's who you're living for if you're feeling like you're not doing enough. I wanted to describe that feeling because I've never seen anybody talk about that. But the legacy that women feel they're losing in the divorce process is huge. And it's probably keeping a lot of women stuck. I can't start over. I'll never do better. There's nobody out here. But if you root your life in what other people are thinking and how other people can save you and how you can be elevated by your partner instead of elevated by yourself, that's the life you're going to live. One of being stuck, whether inside the marriage or outside. You're going to feel stuck if you don't rectify your thoughts about being with someone that takes you higher or not, right? So I wanted to bring that up. I wanted to talk about enmeshment. I wanted to talk about my divorce and tell you all that it's finally over after a full year plus of lawyer fees and lawyers dropping off and lawyers coming back in and selling the marital home and the difficulties of dating, which we'll get into in another podcast because y'all know, let me tell you something. One thing about me, I'm not going back. I'm only going forward. And what I can say without a shadow of a doubt is that I like a man with his finances in order, who is generous, tall, dark, and handsome. And I'm never switching from that. Okay? And he must speak multiple languages. I like a multilingual. Okay? So anyway, this is the first episode of Girl, Let Me Call You Back. with LA. I am LA. Thank you all so much for being with me on my first episode. Tell me what you think. I hope we got in a little deep. I hope I wasn't too all over the place. I'm usually going to be too all over the place because I got a lot of thoughts in my head. And I probably have a little attention deficit. Don't worry about that though. We're having a good time. I want to think if there's any. I'm trying to go look for that clip. It's a new clip on OWN from Family versus Fiance, or Fiance v Family. The Nigerian woman is lunging at her daughter-in-law, and I'm like, mother-in-law or not, lady, you can't threaten bodily harm to me. I'm sorry, because I'll lay you out. I just don't like it. I don't think it's good. But anyway, I am dating an amazing person who is so freaking selfless. He's the most selfless, generous man I've ever dated. I will say that. But we drive each other crazy. We absolutely drive each other crazy. And it has been next month. We met a month after I filed. We've been dating for a year next month. A 1-year anniversary. Right after you. Anyway, ladies, do what you want to do because they're going to talk about you anyway. I have so many things to share with you. I thank you again so much for hanging out with me during this wonderful podcast that we are putting together. We're going to do this together, me and you, girl. Anyway, all right, let me call you back.